We do publicize, as best we can, all the information obtained by intelligence about various kinds of provocations, extremist actions with involvement of militants from Ukraine, Poland and Lithuania. Now we will continue this tradition. Here is one more piece of operational information. I quote verbatim, because this is important for the Poles now. Polish and the US intelligence are preparing a large-scale provocation against the Polish civilian population, which they will blame on Russia and Belarus. They need a pretext, and they need to create some kind of mess. Everything is as old as the world. Once the Nazis, Hitler, prepared such an operation on the border with Poland to provoke the beginning of hostilities. And now these scoundrels. All right, Americans, they don't care whether the last Ukrainian or the last Pole dies. But how can Poles and Americans agree on such a scenario? This is a question. You know, after this, the howling will start. Oh, he is now escalating the situation here, scaring the Poles. Well, I've said my words, and you now draw your conclusions. I'm telling Poles and others. We'll leave and we'll see. But we did warn the Polish people as brothers to be careful and cautious. Simultaneously, Warsaw is trying to recruit high-ranking Belarusian officials to replace the current Belarusian opposition figures. They do understand that they are not able to turn Belarus upside down, to implement the scenario of a colored revolution and some kind of march here in Belarus. They will not be able to realize an armed invasion. We are following this process closely. We see their approaches to the leaders in Belarus both in the military and civilian spheres. They will be looking for and nurturing new figures, loyal to the West and more effective now. They will be using all the methods, from garden variety bribery and blackmail to threats to the life and health of these people and their loved ones. And anyone can get on their radar. Everyone, both here and there, needs to understand the real situation and also the level of our awareness. This is important, especially now, on the eve of all sorts of political events in our country. Belarus is currently gearing up for the most important events: the single voting day, the formation of the Belarusian People's Congress. They will try to rock our boat again, which is obvious. The scheme has not changed. They will come up with new triggers to destabilize the society, and we must be prepared for that. All the fake and unimportant information aside, Belarusian self-exiled opposition and their handlers from the foreign special services are working on three main scenarios of action during this period. And this is not just some story concocted by Lukashenko or the special services. This is the information obtained by our intelligence. These guys should be held in great esteem. I always say to Ivan Stanislavovich, head of the KGB, Ivan Tertel, they are of the greatest value for us. They should be provided with all the necessary support. So should those who spent 2 weeks on the border to detain those saboteurs from Ukraine. They should be supported in every way possible. We have talked about it with you and Internal Affairs Minister Ivan Kubrakov many times. All those who work for the benefit of the state should be appreciated and supported. Many military and law enforcement officers keep performing their duties as usual. These officers, however, are at war even today. They, including the intelligence agents, should be supported in every possible way. But as I said, there are several scenarios. The first one is the most desirable for them. It is the organization of a coup d'etat, or a violent seizure of power, directly during the election campaign. And yet, they themselves assess it as unlikely. They do not yet see any real prerequisites for destabilizing the situation, as it was done, for example, back in 2020. The second scenario is the main one. They will use the current election campaign as a rehearsal and an initial stage to prepare for a coup d'etat during the upcoming presidential elections in 2025. All the main forces and resources will be used to fuel social discontent and provoke a new wave of protests. As I said earlier, we are being watched very closely now. They're waiting for the authorities to make a mistake in order to use it for their own advantage. But this, as I always say, cannot be allowed. We should not allow ourselves to relax, or we'll lose the country. The third scenario is a fallback version. It's a so-called long game with extensive use of soft power instruments in case the first two scenarios should fail. In fact, this kind of game has been on as long as sovereign Belarus has existed. This scenario, in fact, is the most feasible one, because Belarus will simply not allow the first two ones to be realized, neither now nor in 2025, because we will get together and fight back. But the third scenario, in fact, is possible. They will be trying to quietly change our country, to influence the minds and souls of our people. That is how it will be.